Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Noah Hiles. He's joining the show. Noah, you are in Phoenix, Arizona right now. You're going to be covering the Pirate game tonight. Have you stopped at In-N-Out Burger yet?
I have not. I went to a pretty nice restaurant. I believe it was called the Blue Dog, which is downtown. Got myself some nice salmon. Eat clean the first day getting to town, and then you get into the mud a little bit as the series progresses, in my opinion. So I will stop at In-N-Out before I hit the road to my next destination, which is Houston.
How hot is it down there? Is it, because Houston's a different type of animal now. Like, compared to Arizona and Phoenix, like Houston, that's the humidity. Arizona, Phoenix, it's more of a dry heat. Is it hot or is it kind of decent?
It's 6 a.m. here, and it's already 85 degrees.
Wow.
Yesterday, when I arrived at my hotel, it was 111 degrees at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Woo!
So there's not a lot of people out and about. I kind of talked to the people in the hotel lobby, and I was like, is this like an active area? And they're like, it is during the winter and the fall, but during the spring and summer, you don't see a lot of people around downtown Phoenix just because it is scorching.
Fan Twitter brought to you by South Hills Kia in Peters Township. Visit them at southhillskia.net. All right, no, we're 4 days away to the trade deadline. What are you hearing on the Pirates front? What are some names that would make sense? Callis and I have been playing a game throughout the show at the 45s of every hour of I throw out a name to him, and he tells me if it makes sense or not for the Pirates to trade for, or a trade piece on the Pirates, in the Pirates organization, that it would make sense for them to trade away to get somebody back in order to enhance this lineup. So what are you hearing?
I'm hearing I wish I had something sexier for you, Dorin, but everything that I've heard kind of matches what I've been told for the last couple of weeks. They're just hitting up as many teams as possible, inquiring about a lot of players. I'd have to imagine that this weekend they start to truly hone in on a couple of targets. Some names that make the most sense to me would be Tommy Pham, Taylor Ward, and Jesse Winker. Those are three corner outfielders. Pham can even play center field, who are all on expiring deals. None of them are obviously game changers as an individual addition, but I think what this team needs more than anything are players that kind of round out the lineup. I really don't hate the top five batters in this order when everyone's healthy in there. It's the guys 6 through 9 that need to hold their end of the bargain. And if you get a Tommy Pham or a Jesse Winker, you can either put them in the bottom end of the lineup, or you have them at the top half and you can move Nick Gonzalez out of the cleanup spot and he can be lower in the order. And that's a pretty good bat to have in your 6, 7, 8 spot. So those are I think realistic moves. As far as guys that could be traded, we'll start at the major league level. I look at a guy like Quinn Priester as very ideal trade bait. He's a former top 100 prospect. He's still only 23 years old. I think he's shown sizable growth in year 2 of the big leagues for him compared to year 1. And I think that a team, considering what they're going to be trading for, Priester's a guy you could dangle in front of a team if you're looking to get someone like Taylor Ward, who has multiple years of control. I think you could say, hey, here's a young pitcher. We have a lot of this already. He might not even be in the rotation next year or the year after that, but he could be a top 4 guy for you. So you get a starting pitcher, we'll take your outfielder, and that could be a straight up thing. Another thing Cherington's talked about is the possibility of multiple teams in contention doing a true baseball trade, which is just big leaguer for big leaguer. And if you're going that route, I think a guy like Marco Gonzalez could make sense. Just because he's on an expiring deal. Once Bailey Falter comes back, you have another starting pitcher already. And I think that Marco's veteran presence, and he's thrown the ball decent, albeit in a small sample size, you can maybe get a 4th outfielder or something like that if you're looking to get some depth. So those are major league guys. As far as minor league goes, unless they're going out and getting an elite player with multiple years of control, I don't see them dealing anybody in their top 5. But there are a lot of really talented pitchers in Bradenton right now, or in Greensboro. A guy like a Hunter Barco, or a guy like a Patrick Riley. Some guys who have been recently drafted who have some solid numbers. But I mean, it's going to be a while till they get up here, and where are they going to go?
Right.
So like those are guys that I would look at as far as trade possibilities, as far as prospects are concerned.
So is Brent Rooker just wishful thinking for Pirates fans?
Yeah, and the reality is, I mean, that guy's a DH, and the Pirates don't need to upgrade their designated hitter position. I mean, Brent Rooker is a better designated hitter than Andrew McCutchen, but neither of those guys are going to play right field every day for you.
Right.
So it'd be the same thing as like, yeah, if there's a good shortstop out there, sure, you could go get him, but like you already have a shortstop. So, I mean, his bat would look tremendous in this lineup. I think it would fix a lot of problems. You put him right in the cleanup spot, and like I said, you can move Gonzalez down in the order, and now you have something cooking here. But I just don't know where you put him in the order, because you're not benching McCutchen, you're not playing McCutchen in right field, and you're definitely not playing Rooker in right field. So I just don't see how that fits. And then based off of conversations we've had, I think Rooker might probably be the biggest name dealt at the deadline. And considering how hungry so many teams in baseball are for a power bat right now, I don't think the Pirates would be willing to be the highest bidder for a guy that plays a position that they already have a good player at.
Now, Luis Ortiz is pitching tonight, and every series is a big series for the Pirates, and they're in 4 in a row. They've won 4 series in a row. They are somewhat hot right now, or they're teetering about getting pretty hot. I don't want to jinx him or anything, but has Luis Ortiz gotten enough credit for what he has done this year, or has he been just overshadowed by Paul Skeens, by Mitch Keller, by Jared Jones, and the top 3 of the pitching staff?
I think he's starting to get credit, and I think that this is a guy that, if he can continue this, we should be looking at him in the same light as we look at, it should be Skeens, Jones, Keller, and Ortiz, because it wasn't long ago that this was supposed to be one of the future guys.
Yeah.
When he was coming up, he was viewed in the same breath as Roansy Contreras, and obviously that didn't work out, but I think that people gave up on him and forgot about him way too early. I mean, the guy's still only 25 years old. He didn't have a bad spring, but the way the Pirates developed him this year, putting him in that bullpen role, allowing him to build up, and it's worked out perfect, because now he's going to have the freshest arm in the team on any starter going into the second half, because he's not had any injuries, and he's gradually built up, similar to what Skeens did in the minor leagues. This guy did in the. And he got a lot better. I mean, he started learning how to throw a cutter in April. How many major league pitchers do you hear learning to throw a pitch mid-season? And per Baseball Savant, it's his most valuable pitch. So it's not only just something he learned, it's been a difference maker for him. And so I think this is a guy that, as far as I'm concerned, is a player that fans should be excited for, not only this year, but moving forward. I don't think he has the high-end upside that Skeens and Jones and Keller possess, but this is a guy that a lot of people would feel very lucky to have as their number 4 starter right now. He's throwing the baseball very well.
Who's had a bigger impact, in your opinion? Rowdy Tellez or Nick Gonzalez?
Man, that's tough. I would say Nick, just because he's been more consistent. I mean, Rowdy over the last month and a half has been really good, but I think this team changed when Nick came up. Everyone circles May 11th as the date where the Pirates have been a different ball club, and they're right. Since Skeens debuted, this team's 7 games over 500. But Nick Gonzalez came up the same time as Skeens. He played 1 day earlier, and the lineup's been different with him. I think it's just having someone who. And if you look at Nick's numbers, this isn't a guy who's setting the world on fire. He's, by a lot of accounts, a league average hitter. But that's what this team was missing. They had 2 or 3 guys who were doing all of the work, and then the rest of them were well below league average. And just having another league average bat who could come through and drive in a run here and there, or get a double, get on base, move a guy over and score into scoring position. That's been the difference maker, and he has consistently been that guy since he's arrived. His approach is different, which I think throws off opposing pitchers, whereas you see so many other guys on this team taking multiple pitches. Nick Gonzalez is a first-pitch hitter, and I think that's benefited him tremendously in late game situations. So I would go with him just because he's been impactful from the moment he's arrived.
Noah, we will check in with you multiple times before the end of the season. But on September 29th, the last game of the season against the Yankees, what will the story be about the Pittsburgh Pirates? Like, where would they be at, in your opinion, if in hindsight, where would they be at on September 29th, and what will we be saying about them?
I think we'll be talking about 2025. I'm not entirely confident that this is a playoff team just yet. I think there will be two storylines. I think there will be one where pessimists will be looking at the many winnable ball games that this club surrendered and think, man, this is a better team than the New York Mets. This is a better team than the Padres or whoever else, or God forbid the Cardinals. And they should be ahead of them. They should be playing in October right now. But I also think that people are going to look at the developments that did take place this year. They're going to look at O'Neal Cruz and say, that guy is as good as we thought he could be, and he's going to be even better next year. They're going to look at the starting pitching and say, we've got a lot of options coming into 2025. They're going to look at Nick Gonzalez and Reynolds, and they're going to say, this is a team that's probably going to be the odds-on favorite to win the Central in 2025. So there's going to be some frustration knowing that they could have made the playoffs this year, but there's also going to be a lot of optimism knowing that it's really going to be for real next year. So it's not the answer I'd hope to give. Trust me. I mean, I would love to be gearing up to cover October baseball more than anyone, but I'm not completely sold just yet, just because of, with the Pirates, it's kind of like I got to see it before I say it type thing.
Right. Noah, thank you so much. Thank you for waking up. I know it's early there, 6 a.m., and get yourself some In-N-Out Burger during this series, and hopefully the Pirates can keep that trend going and win another series and make that 5 in a row. Thank you, man.
We'll see. Thanks for having me on, Dorin.
You're the man. Thank you. Noah Hiles of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.